I vividly remember the day Emma came into the world. I was merely 5, and when Mom and Dad announced that I was about to become a big sister, they presented it as though my lifelong best friend was arriving. What they failed to mention was my impending invisibility. I'm Paula, and growing up in the Mitchell family meant early insights into a distinct pecking order, with Emma reigning supreme, and me somewhere beneath the family dog. The favoritism was blatant. Every morning, Mom catered to Emma's breakfast needs: 2 sunny-side-up eggs and toast cut precisely to her liking, while I was merely handed a box of cereal. This disparity was everywhere. When I needed braces, Dad grumbled for months about the expense. 2 years later, when Emma required them, suddenly cost was no concern, and she was awarded the luxury of fancy clear ones that I had longed for but was denied. While her B+ in math brought celebratory dinners at her favorite spots, my accolades in science fairs and AP classes went unnoticed. Birthday parties were yet another sore point. Mine were modest gatherings with supermarket cakes and backyard festivities, whereas Emma's were grand with bouncy houses, hired performers, and custom cakes. I once overheard Mom tell a friend that Emma simply appreciated these things more, labeling me as sensible Paula. What stung the most was observing Emma's transformation. We began as innocent playmates, crafting blanket forts and fabricating silly tales. However, constant adulation took a toll, and by middle school, Emma fit the mold of someone who could do no wrong. She would storm into my room, demanding items like my blue sweater without a second thought, causing her to bemoan to Mom if I refused. "Paula, don't be selfish, let your sister borrow it," would invariably follow. I adapted, choosing my battles wisely, expecting little and seeking validation elsewhere. School turned into my refuge. While Emma relished in school play applause, I concentrated on my academics, triumphing in contests and hatching my escape strategy. When my full scholarship acceptance to State University came, I thought perhaps they'd finally show pride. Yet dinner conversations stayed Emma-centric. Her 7th grade election tales engulfed the evening. "Mom, I got a full scholarship," I'd attempt to interject during pauses. "That's nice, honey. Emma, tell us more about your posters," followed. In my college years, home was limited to holiday visits, counting the minutes till I could flee. Each visit revolved around Emma's achievements, while my academic merits went unmentioned. I kept visits short, curtailing expectations, eagerly returning to college where my accomplishments belonged to me. During my junior year, an unexpected Facebook message from Mike Harrison, a senior from my freshman year at Kennedy High, threw me into reminiscence. Days filled with college anecdotes and fond high school memories paved the path to reconnecting. Mike, now an engineer in our hometown, sparked a connection that turned coffee meetings into dates, soon leading us to search for an apartment together. The persistent indifference of my parents loomed as a dark cloud. Little acknowledgement was given to my career or relationship. Their focus remained on Emma's college struggles. "She's having a tough time adjusting," Mom would lament on rare calls. Mike's family became my solace. His parents, Tom and Sarah, embraced me wholeheartedly, with his sister Jenny embodying the sisterly bond I yearned from Emma. Their families supported us, from helping furnish our apartment to genuinely caring about my career progression. "We're proud of you both," Sarah lauded at our small wedding ceremony in Mike's parents' backyard, shared only amongst close friends and family. My parents played their part but spent the reception steered by Emma's summer exploits. From the outside, my internship seemed idyllic. I was thriving at work, blissfully married, and embraced by a family that truly appreciated me. A couple of years after tying the knot, I became pregnant. It felt like life couldn't possibly improve any more. Our son Lucas entered the world, healthy and gorgeous, and Mike, my husband, appeared to be a devoted father. But as Lucas celebrated his first birthday, a shift occurred. Mike grew distant, started extending his work hours, and began canceling our date nights. I assured myself it was merely the stress of new parenthood, yet a part of me sensed there was something deeper. The truth unraveled one Tuesday evening while I was feeding Lucas in his high chair. Mike entered, appearing as though he hadn't slept in days, and confessed with a trembling voice, "I need to tell you something. I've met someone else. Her name is Rachel, a client at work, and I'm in love with her." The revelation was shocking, yet the ensuing divorce happened surprisingly smoothly and civilly. Mike relocated to Colorado with Rachel, but he generously provided alimony and child support, stating, "I may not have been a great husband, but I will be a terrible father." At my lawyer's office, after finalizing the divorce papers, I held Lucas close. At just 2 years old, he was too young to grasp why his father wouldn't come home anymore. Despite Mike's absence, his family became my strong support. Tom and Sarah, Lucas's grandparents, remained dedicated and loving. Visits to their home brought joy to Lucas. He lit up with excitement, rushing to the special toy corner they had set up for him. Tom would play with trucks on the floor, and Jenny always had fun crafts or games ready. Unfortunately, visits to my own parents' house were different. I wanted them to bond with their only grandchild, but it was disheartening to witness their indifference. Paula, don't let him touch that vase, my mother would snap without lifting her eyes from her magazine. Make sure he doesn't run too wild, he'll scratch the wood floors. Lucas felt the ice-cold atmosphere and clung to my leg, yet the disparity grew starkest when Emma, my sister, arrived. There's my successful girl, my father would gush, ignoring Lucas's attempts to show his latest drawings, completely absorbed in Emma's stories about her new trading company role. Determined to forge a better environment for Lucas, I focused on advancing my career. With the help of Mike's family, especially Jenny, for child care, I tackled more demanding projects. When I volunteered for the Singapore account, my boss cautioned, it's high risk. No one has secured this deal in 3 years. Firmly, I responded, I can do it, and indeed, I did. After 3 intense months of late nights and long-distance video calls, I not only closed the deal but doubled its initial scope. Following that success, I handled more high-profile projects, establishing myself as the go-to person for challenging clients, and eventually earning a promotion to senior account director. It included a coveted corner office and a remarkable salary. To Paula Mitchell, our miracle worker, my team toasted as I secured the Microsoft account. The bonus from that achievement was the final boost I needed. That weekend, Lucas and I went house hunting. A beautiful 3-bedroom apartment was available with a nearby park and an excellent school district. As Lucas explored the rooms, thrilled by the potential of having his own space filled with toys, I checked the mortgage numbers again. We'll take it, I confirmed. Later that night, while tucking Lucas in at our old apartment one last time, he asked Mommy, are we really getting a new home with my own room? I reassured him, yes, with your own room, a special art corner, and space for all your books. You're the best mommy ever, he exclaimed, hugging me tightly. This moment of realization clarified everything. Though I couldn't alter my past or my parents' behavior, I could break the cycle. My son would never have to question his worth or feel sidelined. Amazingly, news of my promotion and our new apartment spread quickly. Suddenly, my phone buzzed with an unexpected message from my mom. Sweetie, we haven't seen you and Lucas in ages. Why don't you come over this weekend? I almost spilled my coffee, surprised by her sudden interest after 5 years of disregarding my existence. I considered Lucas, who would enjoy spending time with family, and who deserved every bit of love and security going forward. Sometimes, people really can change. Lucas still occasionally asked about his grandparents. The next weekend, I decided to take Lucas to visit them, and the change was astonishing. There's my favorite grandson, Ad exclaimed as we walked in. Considering Lucas was their only grandson, it wasn't much of a statement, but it still warmed my heart. Look what Grandma got you, Mom said as she handed him a new toy truck, something she had never done before. And I made cookies. You like chocolate chip, right? Lucas was too young to remember their previous indifference, so he was thrilled. I observed my mother getting down on the floor to play with him, something I had never seen her do. Later, while Lucas was entertained with his new truck, Mom turned to me and said, Paula, honey, we'd love to have him over more often, maybe on weekends. You must need a break sometimes. It felt surreal, but I decided to embrace it. What was that saying about not looking a gift horse in the mouth? Over the next few months, my parents surprisingly took on active roles as grandparents, inviting Lucas to stay over on weekends. I used the time to catch up with Jenny. You seem happier, Jenny remarked during one of our shopping trips. More relaxed. I admitted it was nice to see them make an effort, even if I understood the underlying reason. The reason became clearer when the requests started trickling in small at first. Mom needed help with a plumbing bill. Dad's watch needed repairs. With my new salary, these things were easy to manage. Of course I'll help, I'd say, recalling all the dance lessons and summer camps they had funded for Emma but denied me. It felt satisfying to be the one they now turned to. Then, I heard about Emma via the family grapevine. She wasn't doing well at her trading company job and missed several promotions. It's just office politics, Mom defended during one of our now regular family dinners. They don't see her talent. The requests for money grew for a new refrigerator for home repairs. Then came the big request. "Sweetheart," Dad started, "one Sunday while Lucas napped upstairs, we've been thinking about getting a new car. The payments might be steep for us, but with your new job." They quoted a figure that would have been staggering a year ago, but now it was doable. "We will pay you back," Mama assured me, although we both knew that wasn't true. I agreed nonetheless. Maybe it was validation or proving something to myself. Either way, I sent them a monthly check for the car payments. "Just be careful," Ginny warned over coffee. "Money can complicate things." I nodded, though internally I pondered just how complicated it could get. I earned more than enough, and if buying my parents' attention meant Lucas could have grandparents in his life, wasn't it worth it? It began like any ordinary Tuesday at work. Mid-presentation to a client, a sharp, sudden pain hit, making me double over. "Call an ambulance," I heard someone say. "She's as white as a sheet." Everything blurred into a rush of movement and voices. Paramedics arrived promptly, placing me on a stretcher as I fought to focus through the waves of pain. "Classic appendicitis symptoms," one stated. "We need to get her to Memorial right away." Despite the haze, one thought was crystal clear. Lucas needed picking up from school in 2 hours. At the hospital, they quickly confirmed the diagnosis. "Your appendix needs removal," the doctor informed me. "We've scheduled you already. You'll need a couple of days here post-surgery." "I need to make a call first," was all I managed, thinking of my son. The nurse handed me a phone, and with shaky fingers I dialed Mom's number. She picked up on the 4th ring. "Mom," I said, trying to steady my voice, "I'm in the hospital, appendicitis. They need to operate immediately. Would you pick up Lucas from school and watch him for a few days while I recover?" After a pause, she finally replied, "Oh, honey, that's not possible. Your father and I are preparing for Emma's promotion party." She finally became junior executive at her company. The pain in my stomach was dwarfed by the one in my chest. "Mom, please, I need help. Lucas needs to be picked up in less than 2 hours." "Well, that's really not our problem," she said, her voice turning cold. "We're in a hurry. The restaurant expects 50 guests. We can't just babysit now." "Babysit? He's your grandson," I appealed. "Look, Paula," she sighed as though I were being unreasonable. I lay in the hospital bed, phone still in hand, tears mixing with sweat on my cheeks, stunned by the latest conversation. Emma's new job meant she could support my parents now, and suddenly Lucas and I were deemed unnecessary. After everything I'd done the weekend spent with them, the money given freely, they dropped us without hesitation. The nurse gently touched my arm. "Miss Mitchell, we need to prepare you for surgery now." I nodded, my thoughts hazy with hurt, and dialed Jenny. She answered immediately, and I choked out the details of being in the hospital for appendicitis. "Would she please pick Lucas up from school?" Without a pause, Jenny reassured me she'd be there at 2:30. "Lucas is my nephew. Of course I'll get him. We'll have a sleepover," she said, already on her way. The surgery went by in a blur, and as I woke up groggy from anesthesia, my mind drifted to Lucas. Jenny had already sent a message. "Lucas is having a great time building blanket forts and making pizza. Focus on getting better." Photos streamed in over the next days, showing Lucas playing happily, surrounded by care and affection. When I was allowed to leave the hospital, Jenny brought me home, and my son ran into my arms, careful of my ouchy spots. Our home was filled with Jenny's presence. Groceries appeared, and she checked on us daily. Scrolling through social media one night, I saw the photos. Emma's grand promotion party, my parents glowing with pride, champagne flutes raised with no space left for Lucas or me. I decided to change things. The automatic payments I had set up for my parents' car, cancelled, and I blocked them on all social media. 3 months later, life had found a new balance. Jenny and her family filled our days with joy and normalcy, something my parents never could. But one Sunday, my mother's number came up on my phone. There it was, that sugary tone as she spoke about needing help with car payments again. I listened incredulous as she spoke about their expectations of Emma, her refusal, and their disappointment. The irony wasn't lost on me. They had relied so thoroughly on Emma now, and yet still they came back when she didn't fulfill their hopes. I felt a laugh trying to escape, but I held it back, severing the last ties of obligation. It was real family who stood by me, not those who measured worth by convenience and money. There was a moment during the call that my laughter broke through, sharp and unrestrained, as my mother suggested once again that I should resume helping with the payments until we figured out something else. My response was anything but humorous. Mom, 3 months ago I was in a hospital undergoing emergency surgery, and you referred to my son, your grandson, as a burden. You couldn't spare to help us because you were too engaged celebrating Emma's promotion, the same Emma who won't give you a penny now. My mother's attempts to justify her actions, attributing it to being busy, were met with disbelief. No, Mom, I am fully aware of what it was. I was only useful to you so long as I was paying your bills. Once you believed Emma could serve as your personal medium, Lucas and I became secondary, inconvenient even. Always favored Emma, always treated me as less important, and never appreciated my support until something seemingly better came along. Hasn't that been your takeaway? I countered her weak defenses with purpose. The financial help you called gifts was thrown back at me just before you disconnected the call when I was still in recovery. Well, the generosity's cut off now, I declared resolutely. I'm done investing in your affection while you treat my son as lesser compared to Emma's luxurious possessions. It's over. With a lighter heart, I chuckled more freely now. The car? Not my issue anymore. Goodbye, Mom. The phone and those subsequent calls from both my mom and dad remained unanswered, their texts ranging from heartfelt appeals to frustrated demands as the days went by. Clearly, these messages were more about their plight, the impending loss of their car, and their sense of betrayal. Not a word about Lucas, not a trace of regret for their behavior. Enough was reached, and so their numbers were blocked entirely. Filtration systems redirecting their emails straight to the trash finally offered room to breathe a newfound peace. "Are you all right?" asked Jenny, her lemonade in hand, as we sat watching Lucas and Max play in her parents' backyard on a calm Sunday afternoon. Tom handling the grill and Sarah arranging the patio for our traditional family dinners on weekends. "I am really okay," I accepted the drink. "You'd expect guilt or sadness, but liberation is the prevailing sentiment," I confided. "Paula, you extended far more chances than they merited," Jenny reassured, squeezing my hand gently. "Sometimes opting to walk away marks the incline to health and well-being." "Mommy, look what Grandpa Tom taught me." Lucas exuberantly showcased a new frisbee trick, prompting Tom to eagerly abandon his grilling for further instruction, while Sarah's words of encouragement floated over from the patio. This tangible display was both heartwarming and reassuring. Real love from real family members, steadfast in both joyous and challenging times. To date, I remain unaware if my parents still possessed their car or if Emma ever bridged the gap, perpetuating their lavish social events. They seem distant, neither looked for on social platforms nor through whispers via mutual friends, even when driving through old neighborhoods. One certainty remains: Lucas never inquired about them. Children instinctively discern genuine affection. He has grandparents that never miss his school performances, an aunt playing alongside him in blanket forts, and a mother, who grasped the validity in unconditional love. Recently, a family tree project came from Lucas's school. He depicted Tom and Sarah close to me alongside Jenny and Max. His father garnered a separate branch, managed with regular online calls and festive visits, but my parents and Emma were notably absent. "Is this okay, Mommy?" Lucas queried, showing his work. Even if Miss Johnson advised that family trees generally contain more members, Lucas declared, "These are the only ones we deserve." His drawing now adorns the refrigerator, placed right beside a photo from his last birthday party. Smiles framed by a layered cake, genuine from everyone. "It's flawless, sweetheart," I whispered. "Absolutely flawless." In life, the ties you're born into aren't always the ones you're meant to keep. Sometimes relinquishing those who ought to love you creates the space for those who truly do. Having Lucas grow in an embrace of genuine, unconditional love over 32 transformative years justifies the wait, making it all worthwhile.